Listen carefully. You don't feel control being taken from you. That is the design. You think you are safe. You think that because someone smiles at you, because they say the right things, because they mirror your fears and your desires, that they are harmless. You are wrong. You are painfully wrong. The people who will dismantle your reality do it quietly. They do it slowly. They do it invisibly. Your mind floods with doubt before your eyes ever catch the danger. Your heart races, your stomach tightens, your sleep becomes a series of half-awake nightmares, and still, you tell yourself you are imagining it. You are imagining it because if you accept the truth, your world will shatter. Your world is a fragile thing. And they know it. They know exactly which pieces to touch, which cracks to pry open, which fears to whisper to until you believe them. If someone shouts at you, if they threaten, if they demand, you know what to do. You resist. You fight. You survive. The danger is obvious. But the people who will hollow you, drain your sense of self, leave you second-guessing your memories, your perception, your sanity, they smile. They nod. They agree. They tell you that you are special. They tell you that you are loved. And all the while, they are carving tunnels through your mind. Machiavelli said that men who try to live with virtue in a world that does not reward virtue are doomed to destruction. Read that again. If you believe that everyone around you has a conscience, that everyone shares your empathy, you are not kind. You are prey. Most people are walking through a storm, believing it is a calm morning. They project their decency onto predators. They assume the smiles they receive are truth, the compliments are genuine, the concern is sincere. You will learn, soon, that these are the instruments of control. That the kindness you see is a trap. That the love you feel is a calculation. You will see it in your partner, your friend, your mentor, your coworker. The ones who whisper will wound deeper than the ones who scream. You are about to enter the anatomy of manipulation. We are going to examine 3 tactics used by narcissists to control, deceive, and dominate. These are not abstract theories. These are not the villains in the movies. These are people you share your mornings with, your dinners, your secrets. And if you do not understand them, they will shape your life without your permission. The first tactic is the foundation. Without it, nothing else works. You must understand it completely, or you will be blind to everything else. It is subtle. It is invisible. It makes you question your own mind. It is gaslighting. Gaslighting is not lying. Lying is a surface action. Lying is clumsy. Gaslighting is architecture. It reshapes your perception. It edits your memory. It convinces you that you are wrong, that you are too sensitive, that you are the cause of your own confusion. At first, it feels minor. A small discrepancy. A tiny doubt. Did they really say that? Am I overreacting? You trust yourself less and less. You defer to them more and more. You begin to apologize for remembering incorrectly, for feeling too much, for thinking you are justified in your outrage. And each time you bend, each time you defer, the structure of control becomes stronger. It is invisible, deliberate, and hypnotic. You cannot see the foundations being laid until the building collapses. They will never admit it. They will never say, "I am controlling you." They will claim the opposite. "I care about you. I am protecting you. I am helping you. I am making sure you do not make a mistake." And all the while, every word is designed to make you doubt yourself. Your memory. Your worth. Your instincts. This is the predator's greatest weapon. Invisibility. You will never fight it directly. You cannot. Gaslighting works because you want reality to make sense. You want consistency. You crave truth. When someone whispers that your truth is wrong, your mind hesitates. Your rational brain searches for flaws in your own perception. You question. You rationalize. You make excuses for the person doing the manipulating. They are under stress. They didn't mean it. Maybe I misunderstood. You are training yourself to trust the predator. And that trust is the leash. You begin to bend around their narrative. You begin to live in the world they have designed for you, not the world you see. And because you bend, you lose more than control. You lose your center, your confidence, your ability to decide. You will ask yourself questions you have never asked before. Is my memory reliable? Are my emotions reasonable? Am I the problem? And the answer is yes. Yes, you are the problem, not because you are flawed, but because they have designed you to be. And this is just the beginning. Gaslighting is the first act. It is the quiet act. It is the act that makes everything else possible. It is the knife you never see. You are about to see it. Once the first blade of control is in place, the predator introduces the second. You may think they are calm, harmless even, because the first act was quiet, almost invisible. Now the second act begins. It is louder. It is more disorienting. It is called triangulation. Triangulation is not direct attack. It is a network of manipulation, a web where you are always at the center, and yet you never see the threads. The narcissist does not fight you alone. They bring others in without your consent. They create a chorus whose voice you cannot escape. Suddenly, you are surrounded by opinions that may not exist. Everyone agrees with me. My friends told me you overreacted. Even your sister thinks I'm right. You are not arguing with one person anymore. You are arguing with a jury of shadows. You cannot speak to them. You cannot reason with them. You are isolated. And isolation is where the predator grows stronger. Your instincts tell you to defend yourself. Your mind searches for logic. Your heart feels panic. You start explaining. You start pleading. You start justifying. You are performing, defending, rationalizing. All the while, the narcissist sits in the center. Calm. Smiling. Observing. Every word you speak, every emotional tremor, is fuel. Every argument you launch, every apology you offer, strengthens their control. They are measuring your limits, mapping your boundaries, learning how far you can bend without breaking. And when they notice you bend too far, they will adjust. They will create a new situation. A new jury. A new crisis. And you will follow. You will keep defending yourself, exhausting your mind and body, never realizing that the battlefield has changed while you were still playing the old game. Triangulation is subtle. Triangulation is deliberate. Triangulation is invisible war conducted in plain sight. You may notice patterns later. You may recognize phrases you have heard repeated. You may feel a persistent unease around certain topics, certain people, certain moments. But at first, you only feel confusion. You doubt your own memory, your own reasoning, your own worth. This is exactly what they want. Confusion is a lever. Doubt is a tool. Anxiety is fuel. And they do not need to lift a finger beyond words. You may think it is just a fight, just a disagreement, just a misunderstanding. But it is not. It is architecture. They are building a reality in which they are always right, you are always wrong, and you cannot escape the design. The narcissist does not need armies. They have your mind. They have your emotions. They have your attention. They have your isolation. And once the first two acts are in motion, the final act begins. It is seductive. It is intoxicating. It is called love bombing. At first, it feels like salvation. It feels like light in a dark room. You are seen. You are admired. You are elevated. You are chosen. You are special. They say the words you long to hear. They give the attention you have craved. They reflect your desires before you even speak them. It is overwhelming. You cannot resist it. You want it. You chase it. Your nervous system is flooded with chemicals, pleasure, excitement, obsession. You feel alive in a way you have not felt in years. And all the while, you are being mapped. Every vulnerability. Every wound. Every longing. Every fantasy. Every insecurity. Every hope. Every fear. They take it all in. They learn your rhythm. They learn your weak points. They learn the places you will bend. They learn how to control your emotional landscape without touching you physically. You may call it love. You may call it attention. You may call it connection. It is none of these things. It is strategy. It is the final layer of control. Once your trust is earned, once your defenses are disarmed, they remove the attention. They withhold it. They distort it. They twist it. Praise becomes criticism. Validation becomes conditional. Affection becomes manipulation. You chase it. You chase them. You bend. You rationalize. You justify. You try harder. You ask more. You beg, without knowing you are begging. And each time you do, you reinforce their control. You train yourself to obey. You train yourself to doubt. You train yourself to depend. They have not taken your heart. They have taken your mind. And the heart will follow. The warning signs of triangulation and love bombing overlap. You notice it in moments of intensity. You notice it in sudden shifts. You notice it in conversations you cannot trace. You notice it in how you feel after interactions, exhausted, anxious, unsure, doubting. That tightness in your chest is your intuition screaming. That sinking feeling in your stomach is your instincts warning. You may ignore it at first. You may call yourself paranoid. You may say, I am imagining it. I am overreacting. Do not. Do not ignore the signals. Do not rationalize. Do not excuse. The narcissist relies on your self-doubt. Your desire for harmony. Your hope for kindness. They feed on it. And if you survive, if you notice, if you step back, if you pause and breathe, you have a choice. You have a chance to reclaim your mind, your perception, your autonomy. But you must learn the rules of this invisible war. You must starve the system. You must withhold the ammunition. They survive on your reactions. They thrive on your attention. You cannot defeat them by fighting them. You cannot out-argue them. You cannot outlove them. You cannot prove yourself to them. You can only survive by becoming uninteresting. By becoming unpredictable. By becoming untouchable. By giving nothing to feed the machinery of control. When you withhold, you observe. When you observe, you learn. When you learn, you prepare. And preparation is freedom. Freedom is survival. Freedom is the only victory the narcissist cannot steal. And remember this. The cycle of gaslighting, triangulation, and love bombing is designed to make you feel powerless. To make you doubt yourself. To make you chase what is never real. To make you obey without realizing it. It is deliberate. It is precise. It is merciless. And it is survivable, but only if you recognize it, accept it, and withdraw from it strategically. Only if you reclaim your center. Only if you stop giving them the tools to manipulate you. Only if you learn the rhythm of their tactics and refuse to dance to it. Only then can you walk through their storm untouched, calm, deliberate, untouchable. You may have noticed faces while I spoke. You may have felt your body tighten, your chest constrict, your stomach clench. That is not coincidence. That is recognition. That is your mind calling out to you. The narcissist is not abstract. They are not distant. They are near. They are familiar. And you must prepare. You must guard. You must starve the system. You must reclaim your perception. You must survive. You cannot fight them openly. You cannot confront them directly. You cannot argue them into submission. You can only control yourself. You can only defend your own mind. You can only withhold your reactions. You can only remain calm. You can only remain deliberate. And in that calm, deliberate space, you begin to see the truth. You begin to see how invisible the system is. You begin to see the architecture of control. You begin to see how you have been trained. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Once you feel it, you cannot ignore it. Once you understand it, you can act. But action is not vengeance. Action is preservation. Action is survival. You will learn the strategies, one by one, in the next section. You will learn how to starve the gaslighting. You will learn how to break the triangulation. You will learn how to survive the love bombing without bending, without giving, without losing yourself. You will learn how to become untouchable while remaining in the room. You will learn how to reclaim your mind and your autonomy. And when you do, you will understand that the narcissist's power is never absolute. It is only absolute when you give it to them. You can take it back. You can reclaim your center. You can survive. You can thrive. You can be untouchable. And the first step is seeing the system for what it truly is. You do not escape this by confrontation. That is the first mistake people make. They believe truth will save them. They believe exposure will free them. They believe if they explain clearly enough, calmly enough, logically enough, the other person will finally understand. This belief will cost you everything. Narcissistic control does not collapse under light. It adapts to it. When you confront, you give them energy. When you explain, you give them information. When you demand accountability, you give them a stage. They do not hear your words. They study your reactions. They catalog your emotions. They adjust their tactics. This is not a misunderstanding. This is a system. And systems are not defeated by arguments. They are defeated by starvation. The first strategy is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is called withdrawal of supply. Supply is emotion. Your anger. Your tears. Your explanations. Your fear. Your hope. Your disappointment. All of it feeds the machine. When you react, they exist. When you react, they win. So you stop reacting. Not all at once. Not obviously. Slowly. Deliberately. You shorten your answers. You flatten your tone. You remove urgency from your voice. You stop defending yourself. You stop correcting them. You stop chasing clarity. When they provoke, you pause. 3 seconds. Then you answer with nothing. Okay. I see. If you say so. You give them no resistance and no reward. This is not weakness. This is discipline. While they are trying to pull you into chaos, you are becoming unreachable. While they are searching for leverage, you are becoming smooth. While they are escalating, you are withdrawing. Contrast matters. Silence has weight. Calm has power. Indifference is lethal to a narcissist. The second strategy is information control. You must understand this deeply. Everything you say can and will be used against you. Not emotionally. Strategically. Your fears become buttons. Your dreams become leashes. Your past becomes ammunition. So you stop giving details. You stop sharing plans. You stop explaining feelings. You speak in generalities. You speak in vagueness. You become unreadable. When they ask about your future, you say you are exploring options. When they ask how you feel, you say you are fine. When they probe, you deflect. You change topics. You offer nothing. This frustrates them. That frustration is your protection. They cannot control what they cannot predict. They cannot manipulate what they cannot map. You do not owe them transparency. Transparency is a privilege. Trust is earned, not demanded. The third strategy is internal anchoring. This is the most important one. You must rebuild your relationship with your own perception. Gaslighting weakens your inner compass. You fix this by slowing down. By observing patterns, not moments. By watching behavior over time, not listening to words. Words lie. Patterns do not. If something feels off repeatedly, it is off. If confusion follows interaction consistently, it is not accidental. If you feel smaller after contact, it is not love. You begin to trust the signals again. Your body knows before your mind admits it. That tightness. That fatigue. That sense of being drained. These are messages. You stop ignoring them. You write things down if needed. Not to confront. To remember. To anchor yourself in reality. The narcissist wants you floating. You become grounded. The fourth strategy is boundary without explanation. This is difficult for empathetic people. You want to be fair. You want to be understood. You want closure. You want harmony. Let go of this fantasy. Boundaries do not require justification. You do not need permission to protect yourself. You do not explain your limits to predators. You enforce them. Calmly. Briefly. Repeatedly. If they push, you do not debate. You repeat the boundary. If they mock, you do not defend. You maintain the boundary. If they escalate, you disengage. This is not cruelty. This is survival. The fifth strategy is strategic distance. Sometimes you cannot leave immediately. They may be a coworker, a boss, a co-parent, a family member. In these cases, distance is psychological. You reduce access. You reduce intimacy. You reduce exposure. You interact only on necessary topics. You avoid emotional conversations. You keep interactions functional. You do not share inner life. You become professional. Neutral. Distant. Boring. This is how you survive while still in proximity. And understand this clearly. When you begin to withdraw, they will escalate. This is called the extinction burst. When control weakens, the narcissist panics. They may become charming again. They may become cruel. They may guilt you. They may smear you. They may play the victim. This is the test. This is the moment most people fail. If you give in now, you reset the system stronger than before. You must hold the line. Calm. Silent. Steady. You are not responsible for their emotions. You are not obligated to soothe them. You are not cruel for choosing yourself. You are alive. And survival is not negotiable. Over time, something shifts. They lose interest. You are no longer rewarding. You are no longer reactive. You are no longer controllable. And predators do not waste energy on prey that does not bleed. They move on. This is not victory in the dramatic sense. This is quiet freedom. This is waking up without anxiety. This is thinking clearly again. This is remembering who you were before you started shrinking. Before you started doubting. Before you started apologizing for existing. You will notice something else too. Your power returns slowly. Not as dominance. Not as aggression. As solidity. You are no longer pulled. You are no longer hooked. You are no longer chasing. You are still. And stillness is frightening to manipulators. Because they cannot read it. They cannot control it. They cannot penetrate it. You have become unpalatable. Untouchable. Whole. This is the part they never tell you. The narcissist is not powerful. They are dependent. They require your energy to function. When you withdraw it, they collapse inward. You do not need revenge. You do not need closure. You do not need to be understood. You need distance. You need clarity. You need your mind back. And once you reclaim it, you will see the pattern everywhere. You will move differently. You will choose differently. You will trust slower. You will speak less. You will observe more. You will no longer confuse intensity with intimacy. You will no longer confuse charm with character. You will no longer confuse attention with love. Your peace will come from within. Your power will come from within. Your clarity will come from within. And no one will be able to take it from you again. The next part is the hardest. Because now we turn the lens inward. And what you see there will change you. Now you look inward. This is the hardest part. You feel the cold realization settle in your chest. You ask yourself, why me? Why did they find me? Why did I trust so easily? Why did I give so much? These are not questions of weakness. These are questions of awareness. You are not guilty. You are not flawed. You were available. You were whole enough to be seen. And that is exactly why they came to you. Narcissists are hunters. They are drawn to cracks, but not cracks in the obvious places. They are drawn to places of generosity, to empathy, to hope, to love that trusts itself. They are not attracted to victims in the sense of helplessness. They are attracted to those who carry light. To those who shine, because they want to feed on that light, redirect it, own it. That is the painful truth. It is not about deserving. It is about exposure. You cannot blame yourself. But you can understand yourself. You can understand your patterns. You can understand why the reflection in the mirror looked like salvation. Why their attention felt like a gift. Why you chased what was never yours. Understanding is not self-blame. Understanding is power. When you understand, you see the mechanism. You see the trap. You see the choreography. And once you see it, you can choose differently. You can pause. You can walk away. You can withhold. You can reclaim. But you cannot pretend it never happened. You cannot forget. You cannot deny the pain. That is where transformation begins. The narcissist is not your teacher. But the experience is. They reveal the spaces in yourself that are unguarded. They show you where your boundaries are weak. They show you where your trust is naive. They show you where your self-respect has been borrowed from others. And once you see it, you repair. Slowly. Deliberately. With care. You rebuild. Not to please others. Not to attract them again. Not to be whole for someone else. But to be whole for yourself. That is the act of defiance. That is the act of survival. That is the act of reclamation. The danger is not gone. It never truly is. You will encounter them again in different forms. In friends. In coworkers. In partners. In strangers who smell weakness and hunger for power. But now, you carry a shield. Not an outward shield. Not a weapon. A shield made of observation, of calm, of clarity, of inner authority. You do not need to fight. You do not need to prove. You do not need to justify. You exist. That is enough. That is power. That is freedom. And there is another lesson here, subtle, almost invisible. It is about your own capacity for darkness. Machiavelli warned that every man has the capacity to deceive. Every man has the capacity to manipulate when circumstances demand it. The line between predator and prey is thinner than you think. You may survive. You may reclaim your life. You may starve them of supply. You may disappear from their map. But you will also see the reflection of yourself in the system. You may recognize the thought. If I wanted, I could have done the same. You may feel it in a burst of anger, in a calculated response, in a temptation to test someone's loyalty, in a flicker of the same hunger you saw in them. Recognize it. Acknowledge it. And do not act. Your strength is not in retaliation. Your strength is in restraint. Your freedom is in self-mastery. Your mind is your domain. Do not surrender it again. And then there is the final transformation. After you survive. After you withdraw. After you withhold. After you rebuild. You begin to see human interaction differently. You stop confusing intensity with intimacy. You stop confusing charm with character. You stop confusing attention with care. You stop confusing reflection with affection. You see who is hungry. You see who is whole. You see who is grounded. You see who is dangerous. You navigate life with clarity. And in that clarity, you are untouchable. Not because you are stronger. Not because you are cruel. Not because you dominate. But because you are deliberate. Because you are calm. Because you no longer participate in the game of emotional supply. You are still. You are whole. You are awake. And there is one final truth you must carry with you. The narcissist will exist. Gaslighting will exist. Triangulation will exist. Love bombing will exist. But you have the power to exist alongside it without being consumed. You have the power to watch the machine run and remain untouched. You have the power to withhold. You have the power to anchor yourself. You have the power to enforce boundaries. You have the power to control what is yours. Your mind, your attention, your emotion, your perception. And this is the deepest lesson of all. Power is not in controlling others. Power is in controlling yourself. Freedom is not in escaping the narcissist. Freedom is in reclaiming your center. Peace is not in having the world be fair. Peace is in being untouchable regardless of the world's cruelty. And now, as you sit with this understanding, you can breathe. You can pause. You can see. You can plan. You can exist. Calm. Deliberate. Unshakable. Untouchable. And when you move through the world from this place, the predators will notice. They will sense your stillness. Your clarity. Your inaccessibility. They will test. They will probe. But you will not react. You will remain. And in remaining, you will discover the last lesson. Life is not a battlefield to survive. Life is a landscape to navigate with awareness. Life is not about avoiding predators. Life is about cultivating your own center, your own authority, your own clarity. Life is about becoming uncatchable. And that is the place from which all other victories emerge. You will never be the same again. You will never see the world with the same naive trust. You will never hand over your energy without discernment. And that is not loss. That is wisdom. That is power. That is freedom. Remember this. Your mind is your domain. Your heart is your compass. Your attention is your currency. Guard them. Protect them. Cherish them. And no one, not the whisperer, the manipulator, the charmer, will ever take them from you again. Pause. Breathe. Observe. You are awake now. And the world, as it is, can no longer touch the part of you that matters most. Now see it in your life. The tactics are quiet. Subtle. Daily. In the office. At home. In friends. In lovers. You may already recognize them. Gaslighting. Triangulation. Love bombing. They are not abstract. They are real. You hand in a project. You know it is right. Your boss insists it is wrong. Your chest tightens. Your mind searches. You apologize. You check again. You feel small. That is gaslighting. The first strategy is pause. 3 seconds. Flatten your voice. Give nothing. Okay. I see. You exist. Calm. Observing. Untouchable. You go home. Your partner involves others in private complaints. They twist words. They praise, then withdraw. You feel cornered. That is triangulation. You stop explaining. You step back. You anchor in your own memory. Your perception is yours. You do not argue. You do not chase. You survive. Your friend mirrors every desire you have. Gives attention, intensity, devotion. You feel alive. You feel seen. They withhold. They provoke. You chase. That is love bombing. You pause. You withdraw. You reclaim your center. You are untouchable. Observe the pattern. Flatten emotion. Withhold personal supply. Protect your mind. Protect your attention. Protect your perception. These tactics overlap. The same person may gaslight, triangulate, and love bomb. Your world feels unstable. Your mind races. You question everything. Pause. Breathe. Observe. Flatten. Withdraw. You remain calm. You remain deliberate. You remain untouchable. You survive. You thrive. You reclaim clarity. You reclaim power. You reclaim freedom. And now, the hardest lesson. Look inward. Why were you targeted? You were available. Whole enough to shine. That is why they came. Not weakness. Not guilt. Awareness. Understand without blaming. Learn your patterns. Recognize the reflection in their behavior. Recognize the spark of darkness that could exist in yourself. Restrain it. Do not act. Your strength is in control. Your freedom is in mastery. And finally, after withdrawal, after patience, after calm, you see the world differently. You do not confuse intensity with intimacy. You do not confuse charm with character. You do not confuse attention with care. You do not confuse reflection with affection. You navigate life with clarity. You protect your mind, your heart, your attention. You are grounded. Calm. Deliberate. Untouchable. And the predators notice. They test. They prod. They fail. Your stillness is your shield. Your calm is your fortress. Your clarity is your power. You survive without revenge. You thrive without confrontation. You exist without fear. You are awake. You are aware. You are deliberate. Untouchable. You are whole. And the world, as it is, can no longer touch the part of you that matters most. Pause. Breathe. Anchor. Observe. This is your mind. This is your life. Guard it. Cherish it. Protect it. And no one, not the whisperer, the manipulator, the charmer, will ever take it from you again.